Now let's talk about one of the most dangerous psychological weapons ever created by humanity, the silent treatment. Have you ever argued with someone, and instead of yelling at you, instead of blocking you, instead of saying, "We need to talk," they just go completely silent? Your messages say, "Seen." They're online all day, still posting Instagram stories, still liking memes, still laughing in group chats. But when it comes to you, suddenly they act like you died in 2017. Congratulations! You've just experienced the ancient dark psychology technique called silent treatment, or in modern language, mentally destroying someone without technically doing anything. And honestly, this move is unbelievably effective, because humans can survive arguments, humans can survive heartbreak, humans can survive cringe TikTok couples somehow. But what humans absolutely cannot handle is uncertainty. The second someone goes silent, your brain instantly turns into a Netflix detective documentary. She replied with K instead of OK, and investigators immediately realized something was deeply wrong. Now suddenly you're analyzing everything. Wait, was her text always this dry? Did I say something weird? Is she mad? Is there another guy? Did she lose interest? Did she join a cult in the mountains? One unanswered message, and suddenly your brain becomes the FBI, CIA, and a conspiracy subreddit combined. That's the terrifying power of silence. Welcome back to Decode, the channel where we turn toxic behavior, emotional damage, and weird human psychology into entertainment. Like and subscribe, but YouTube is somehow still free. Why does silence hurt so much? Humans hate being ignored, like genuinely hate it, because the human brain is built to search for answers. If somebody says, "I'm angry at you," okay, painful, but at least you know what's happening. But silence? Silence gives your brain nothing, and the human brain absolutely refuses to accept nothing. So it starts creating theories, horrible theories. Your brain goes, maybe they hate me, maybe they're cheating, maybe they never loved me, maybe they're testing me. Maybe they got kidnapped. Maybe they're texting somebody else right now. And suddenly, you're emotionally collapsing over a notification sound. The funniest part? The other person hasn't even done anything dramatic yet. They literally just stopped replying. But your brain already created an entire emotional Marvel cinematic universe. That's because uncertainty creates anxiety, and anxiety loves imagination, especially at 2 a.m. That's why silence often hurts more than insults. At least insults are clear. Silence feels like psychological limbo. You don't know whether to apologize, cry, move on, or start learning meditation. Why do people use silent treatment? Now this part gets interesting. A lot of people don't use silence because they're calm or mature. They use silence because they know it gives them power. Think about it. The person talking first usually looks emotionally invested. But the silent person, they suddenly control the emotional atmosphere. The moment they disappear, you start chasing answers. You start overthinking. You start checking your phone every 14 seconds like a stock market investor during a recession. That's why silent treatment is such an effective manipulation tactic. Because the victim starts doing all the emotional work themselves. They begin to overanalyze, apologize, blame themselves, panic, double text, triple text, stare at the ceiling dramatically. Meanwhile, the silent person is probably just eating instant noodles and watching Netflix in pajamas. Minimal effort. Maximum psychological damage. Honestly, it's kind of impressive in a super toxic way. It's like emotional jujitsu, using absolutely no energy while the other person destroys themselves mentally. The different levels of silent treatment. Level 1. The K. This is beginner level toxicity. You send a long emotional paragraph explaining your feelings. Maybe even proofread it first. Maybe even deleted and rewrote it 3 times. And they reply. K, that's it. 1 letter. 1 tiny alphabetic missile. And somehow that single character causes more emotional damage than a medieval war. Suddenly you're staring at the screen like, what do you mean, K? Was it an angry K? Sad K? Passive-aggressive K? Murderous K? Nobody knows. Because humans somehow turn 1 letter into psychological terrorism. Level 2. Seen, but no reply. Now this is the classic version, the modern masterpiece. You send a message, they see it immediately, and then nothing. Seen at 2:14 p.m. That timestamp becomes your villain origin story. Now you start checking your phone every 5 minutes, then every 2 minutes, then every 14 seconds. You suddenly become a full-time online status investigator. Oh, they were active 3 minutes ago. Oh, now they're offline. Oh wait, they're online again. Who were they talking to? Congratulations. You are now emotionally employed by Instagram Analytics Department. Level 3. They ignore you, specifically. This level is evil, because they're not actually disappearing. They're still active everywhere else. Still posting stories, still tweeting, still laughing at memes, still commenting LMFAOOO under random videos. But your message? Absolutely invisible. At this point, you feel like a ghost haunting someone who refuses to acknowledge your existence. And honestly, this level hurts so much because it feels intentional. Because it is intentional. It's basically the emotional version of making eye contact with someone and then pretending they don't exist, which is honestly sociopathic behavior with good lighting. The funniest thing about people who do this, people using silent treatment often think they look mysterious and emotionally powerful. In their minds, I'm cold, I'm detached, I'm controlling the situation. Meanwhile, everyone else is thinking, bro communicates like a broken Wi-Fi router. Some adults grow older physically, but emotionally still solve conflict like middle schoolers. No communication, no explanation. Just disappearing dramatically like a magician who learned attachment issues instead of card tricks. Then they expect you to magically understand what they're feeling through telepathy. Sir, this is not Hogwarts. Nobody can read minds. If humans could read thoughts, social media apps would collapse overnight. And honestly, half the relationships on Earth would end immediately after one shared Uber ride. Why is silent treatment so addictive? Because inconsistency creates obsession. This is where things get dangerous. When somebody constantly switches between warm and cold behavior, your brain starts craving emotional certainty. One day they adore you, next day they disappear. Then suddenly they come back acting sweet again. That emotional unpredictability messes with your brain chemistry. It's basically gambling. Tiny reward, tiny hope, tiny validation, then silence again. Your brain keeps chasing the next emotional win. That's why toxic relationships are incredibly hard to leave. Not because people are stupid, but because inconsistent affection creates emotional dependency. The brain becomes addicted to maybe. Maybe they still care. Maybe things will improve. Maybe this time will be different. Meanwhile, your nervous system is collapsing like an old laptop running 47 Chrome tabs. How to deal with it? Not all silence is manipulation. Sometimes people genuinely need space. Healthy adults sometimes say, "Hey, I'm upset right now. I need time to calm down." That's normal. That's communication. That's emotional maturity. But if somebody repeatedly uses silence to punish you, control you, make you anxious, force you to chase them, that's a massive red flag. At that point, silence is no longer space. It becomes emotional manipulation. So what should you do? Stop playing guessing games. Healthy relationships require communication, not mind-reading competitions, not emotional hide-and-seek, not FBI investigations over a scene notification. And if somebody uses silence specifically to manipulate you, don't turn yourself into customer service support. "Hello, sir. Sorry for existing. Please respond when convenient." You are not Verizon technical support. Silent treatment is dangerous not because of noise, but because silence forces people to destroy themselves using their own imagination. Sometimes the most exhausting thing in the world isn't cruel words. It's silence that makes you imagine every possible worst-case scenario. And trust me, the human brain will always imagine something worse than reality. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Seen but no reply is the most dangerous sport in human history. And subscribe to Decode for more videos about dark psychology, toxic behavior, emotional chaos, and the strange reason humans somehow still date each other, despite clearly needing software updates. See you tomorrow. We're going to explore, do you have any suggestions?